The knocking in the dark. I've always hated being left alone at night. The house changes when you're the only one in it. At least, it feels that way. The air gets heavier, the creaks sound louder, and every noise outside feels like something lurking. When I was 12, my parents decided I was old enough to stay home by myself while they went to a party in a nearby town. "We won't be gone long," my mum said, leaning down to kiss my forehead. "Just remember to lock all the doors." I locked them. I checked them twice, maybe 3 times, because that's how seriously I took my mum's instructions. But by the end of that night, I would understand that locks are only meant for the things you can see, and what frightened me the most couldn't be stopped by a deadbolt. By 9 p.m. I had finished dinner and curled up on the couch in front of the TV. Outside, the storm had rolled in, and the wind howled as sheets of rain slapped against the windows. Thunder rumbled in the distance, and every flash of lightning cast strange, flickering shadows across the room. At first, it was kind of cozy. I told myself I liked being inside, wrapped in a blanket while the storm raged outside. But as the minutes passed, something shifted. The cozy feeling turned into something else. Something I couldn't name but couldn't ignore. The first knock came at 9:30. It was soft, like someone tapping gently to see if anyone was home. I paused the TV and sat completely still, straining to hear over the sound of the rain. Maybe it was just the wind knocking a loose branch against the siding. I waited, hoping that explanation would be enough. Then the knock came again. This time, it was slower, more deliberate. My heart started to race as I got up from the couch and tiptoed toward the front door. My socks whispered against the hardwood floor, making even the smallest movement feel deafening. I pressed my eye to the peephole and stared out at the porch. Nothing. No one. Rain streaked down the glass, blurring the view of the empty street beyond. I twisted the deadbolt to make sure it was secure, my fingers trembling slightly as I turned the lock. I held my breath, waiting for another knock. What came next wasn't a knock. It was a loud, heavy thud that made the door rattle in its frame. I stumbled backward, nearly tripping over my own feet. "Who's there?" I called, my voice cracking. The only response was silence, thick and suffocating. I counted to 20, each second stretching longer than the last. When nothing else happened, I tried to convince myself it had just been the wind. Maybe a strong gust had blown something against the door, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. I backed away from the door and returned to the living room, turning the TV volume up just a little higher to drown out my thoughts. The knock at the back door came 10 minutes later. This time I didn't try to explain it away. I grabbed the nearest thing I could find, a broom, and crept toward the kitchen, my hands shaking so badly I could barely hold onto the handle. The back door led to the patio and the fenced-in backyard. No one should have been back there. The gate was locked, and there was no reason for anyone to be on the other side of the door. Lightning flashed, illuminating the glass sliding door for just a second. I pressed my face against the curtain, peeking through the small gap. There was no one there. The rain soaked everything. The patio furniture, the concrete steps, but the yard was empty. My fingers brushed the lock on the sliding door, making sure it was secure before I closed the curtain completely. I backed away slowly, but my pulse wouldn't slow down. It felt like my body knew something I didn't. Then the doorknob jiggled. I dropped the broom and bolted down the hallway, my socks slipping against the floor as I scrambled into my bedroom. I slammed the door shut and locked it, my breath coming in short, shallow gasps. My mind raced as I tried to decide what to do next. Call my parents. call the police? What if it really was nothing? Would I get in trouble for overreacting? Before I could decide, the sound of shattering glass echoed from the living room. Someone was inside the house. I grabbed my phone and dialed 911, my fingers trembling so badly I almost pressed the wrong number. The operator answered on the second ring. "Someone's in my house," I whispered, tears streaming down my face. "I'm alone. Please help." "Stay calm," the operator said, her voice steady and reassuring. "Police are on their way. Can you find a safe place to hide?" Footsteps echoed down the hallway. They were slow and measured, as if whoever was there knew I was trapped and wanted to savor every second of my fear. I slid under my bed, pressing my hand over my mouth to stifle my breathing. The footsteps stopped just outside my door, and the handle turned slowly. The door creaked open. I could see their boots, muddy, leaving wet footprints on the floor. They moved cautiously, scanning the room. My heart pounded so loudly I thought it would give me away. I squeezed my eyes shut, tears pooling beneath my lids as I silently prayed for the sirens to come. The boots inched closer to the bed. I held my breath, my chest burning from the effort of staying silent. The sound of a floorboard creaking was deafening in the quiet room. They were so close that I could see the mud splattered up the sides of their jeans. Just when I thought I couldn't hold my breath any longer, the distant wail of sirens broke through the storm. The boots hesitated. The intruder stood there for what felt like forever, before turning and bolting down the hallway. I heard the front door slam, and moments later, red and blue lights flashed through my bedroom window. I stayed under the bed until I heard the officers knocking on my door. My legs were so shaky I could barely stand as I crawled out and unlocked it. The police found the shattered window, the wet footprints, but nothing else. Whoever had been in the house was long gone. They told me I'd done the right thing by calling for help, but their reassurance didn't make me feel safer. I stayed with my grandparents for a few days, but even when I returned home, things didn't go back to normal. Every gust of wind against the window made me jump, and every creak of the floorboards sent me into a panic. I couldn't sleep without checking the locks at least 5 times. Even now, years later, I can't sleep during storms. Every rumble of thunder, every tap of rain against the glass takes me back to that night. I still see the muddy footprints in my mind. I still hear the sound of the doorknob turning. Because sometimes the things that leave don't stay gone forever. And on nights like this, when the rain pounds relentlessly against the roof, I wonder if they ever really left at all.